guys. Welcome to the Glistening Experience, the only show on the internet where me, Andrew, is taught a thing or two about music by my friend Chris. Why? Well, you see, when it comes to music, I like what I like, but I feel like I could like it more. That's where my friend Chris comes in. You see, when it comes to music, he really knows his stuff. All the names, all the different kinds. He's gonna hit me with some sweet musical knowledge, and maybe, just maybe, I'll come away with a better understanding of music and a better understanding of why it's good. This is the Glistening Experience. Okay. Let's see here. So, Chris, have I got you?
I'm right here, Andrew. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Am I coming through good?
Yeah, we're live and we're good.
Good.
All right. So, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that's great. That's great. You're great. I'm great too.
Well,
But
speaking of great, I have something important to say right now. Sometimes, sometimes I kind of give you the business, like look, some pretty basic
water under the bridge.
You know how much I care about you. You know that sometimes I'm a little perplexed by how even simple tasks can confound you sometimes. It's not a big deal though. I mean, everyone has their thing to deal with. But just to kind of clear all that aside, turn the page. You helped me with something last week. You helped unclog some drains in my house.
I remember.
And you nailed it. It used to be I'd take a shower, the water would be up to my ankles. You go at this thing for a couple hours, and it's like the water just goes right down the drain. In my eyes, you're like a professional plumber. Not like installing or repairing anything, but I just give you a hard time sometimes. I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate something amazing that you did. So thank you and great job.
That means a lot to me, and that's virtual hug.
Yeah,
virtual hug. Yeah.
Here we go.
1 second.
Yeah. Well,
right.
You remember after you were done with the drains, you came up to my study to kind of check in, say I'm finished, anything else, and I was relaxing, cold beverage, listening to some music, which originally I think you said something like there's something wrong with your stereo or something like that, but I explained it's actually supposed to sound like that, and you said something like,
"Yeah." I said, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, no. I said yes. Yeah. What I was listening to was the genre called.
It was like the chipmunk
genre called Neoclassical Metal that I'm a big fan of. Just beautiful music with a rich heritage that I just wanted to kind of dive into and kind of give you this little overview of what it's all about.
Cool.
It's okay. So,
go for, let's.
So you have these kind of proto neoclassical metal artists, Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, the big names. They did a lot of music for commercials, like you see it on commercials a lot, or Bugs Bunny cartoons. Their thing was you get like 20 guys, give them each a violin, and have them play for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So they kind of did what they could with this. They didn't know really where to take it from there. They kind of passed the torch on, like, to a next generation of artists who could just like rip it out on a guitar, just like
sweet.
And that's what I like about it. It's really fast and intricate and interesting. So these guys Mozart and those guys turned turned the page and passed the torch onto guys like Marty Friedman, Tony
Okay.
McAlpin, Vinnie
Yeah.
Moore,
Yeah.
David D. T. David Chastain. Pardon me, and I guess like the great
Mm-hmm.
grandfather of the whole scene, Ingve Malmsteen,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
just a
Haven't.
Swedish guy blazing away on these songs. It's just like this like fast
Mm-hmm.
classical kind of, and it's just like this rich scene that is like the next step for classical music. Having said that, everything is not always so happy in neoclassical metal land.
Right.
There are some really heated controversies going. Some guys sort of question, I guess you'd say,
Mm-hmm.
is the use of what they call scalloped frets, which is
Frets.
the frets
Like 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 on the guitar.
yeah, on the guitar on the
Yeah.
neck, those metal
Like
bars.
scallop. Like so. Like you. That would be like you scallop like you would the fretboard would like curve under like a scallop between the frets. So
Uh,
there'd be like a U shape between the
I
right. That would be some.
don't. That doesn't sound right to
Okay.
me. I think it has to do with the
Sorry.
frets
Sorry. Sorry.
It's okay, man. This is not something. It has to do with the frets themselves, the metal parts. I
Uh
think they're
huh.
made of a different material, maybe sort of a shell. Anyway, yeah. So this scene has never been hotter. It's like, you know, these guys have just been like setting the charts on fire. Kids are talking about
Mm-hmm.
it. Their grandparents are talking about it. Their grandparents are like, we used to love Mozart. Now we
Mm-hmm.
have Engwe. So I actually am, as you know, really into this stuff. So I've been kind of talking to this guy. It's just starting to make a name for himself. He's not really selling
Uh-huh.
like say T David Chastain is,
Mm-hmm.
but he's good. He's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
10 years from now, when you say neoclassical metal, the name Magnus Tungsten is going to be the next thing you say. Neoclassical metal, Magnus Tungsten. I've been talking to him a lot, and he actually said he would be on our show and
What?
debut, yeah, and debut a track that could very well be the neoclassical metal track of the year.
Do we have them?
I can
Do I
get him on
need?
here right
Do I
now.
need? Okay.
Um,
Okay. Great.
let me.
The,
I'll just dial.
well, you heard it here first, people. That we're the first. You're going to hear for the first time that no, that we're all hearing for the first time Mangus Tungsten's new neoclassical metal song by Magnus Tung. He's going to be on the show. Like, is he? Are we going to talk to him?
Yeah.
Or
Let me just. Oh, crud.
sure. No, I think I see his name on the. Can a second. I have to jiggle the. But
Okay.
it's showing up now.
Good. Good.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to invite him in, and I'll click here.
It's just.
Magnus. Magnus, have you? Ah, hi Magnus. Hi.
Magnus.
Welcome to the show, the Glistening Experience. It's the only where it's me and Chris talking about music and talking about you. We're really excited to hear this new song. Do you have anything to say about it before we dive in with the song?
The individual notes, you say they have their own duration, but groups are beginning to have more and more in their own time, their own tempo, also something that has never occurred, since there was a common beat that was introduced in order to control verticality The group compositions become more and more to regions, which groups have their own time and their own metronomic of time. And I used chromatic scales of tempo and speed. For example, 12 speeds within the ratio 1 to 2. Between 16 and 20, I've worked many times with tempos. Tempo as I work, I picture the grouping. The notion of the group is transcended. And in contrapuntal, the notion of points was transcended. By introducing groups, this always happens and is very interesting.
Cool. That's cool. So we're gonna hear that song. And Chris sent me your file that I'm gonna play, and we're gonna hear me play the song. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Cool.
super cool. Really.
That was really wow.
Yeah.
That was that was great. We thank you, and we I've got have some questions for you. Let's talk about Tungsten. Why don't you tell us a little something about your creative process? How does how do you create?
That is something completely different, so naturally it is not just one, though yes, because we're used for examination one row of proportions, for all the characteristics of durations and pitches for dynamics, and I still try to find you unifying proportion, a factor for proportionally for a given word, like in a mantra, which is the last work I've composed, so to speak, with, yeah, total through composition.
Thought so.
So Magnus Tungsten, what was the first album you ever bought when you're when you're a kid? What was the first record? I don't remember either. Chris, do you?
The La Bamba soundtrack.
Mangus, if you could jam with any musician, all of history, any musician, who would it be? Like play with. Well, it's cool.
I'll give you now an example of a good position which has worked out with the degrees of different indeterminacy, with degrees of statistical behavior of certain groups of elements, groups or masses of points. Valence means that variability, which was here as a result of an intermediary state between determination and statistical behavior of sounds, groups of masters if their field of the variability was based on lines. I gave you the example where you could follow the lines very well, because one instrument was playing a whole sequence of notes, and just following the color of the instrument, you are able to follow the different speed. Where in a statistical composition, the field becomes very wide, and one cannot follow precisely the lines. If I give an example for cycle with a percussionist, one percussionist, and then a cycle for one percussionist, there are certain events which are clearly periodic, and they show by being periodical, for example, that they are not statistical, that they are determined. When I do this thing, that certainly is not statistical. Statistical means you can permutate change. The order without that really matters.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
When I change the order of them, I just produce. There's no longer direction, no determination. For example, bucket, tiptoe, turn, and then afterwards, and they tip-totty. But it does not really matter because there's no direction, it's just an irregularity of distribution.
That's food for thought.
Yeah.
Simple calculator and simple triangle.
So I think that's about all the time we have for the Glistening experience, and we're gonna wrap things up a bit. So Magnus Tungsten, neoclassical metal musician, and thanks for coming on. And that was great. It was a great track, Chris. As always, I'm so happy, and thanks everybody for coming on the show, and And it's so touching every time that this even happens. That's great. So great group hug.